My name is Lisa. I am an internal support coordinator with WEX FSM, and I wanted to welcome you all to Solution Studios. Today, we're going to be going over our accounts receivable and how to make sure that they match what is in QuickBooks, and also to check to make sure that the accounts receivable is up to date with what you're seeing in your system and everything's connected. So let's get started. So on your accounts receivable, you would go to reporting, and then we have two reports, accounts receivable aging and the receivables. So we're going to start from the receivables first. And it's all about getting paid. So we want to make sure that all the payments are assigned to an invoice. If your invoices are unpaid, you can send them in bulk so that you can get that customer to click on that link and make a payment. So I'm going to go back in time a little bit here because this is my test account. See what we have since maybe the first of the year. So these are all of the invoices that I have since the first of the year. Some are open draft, some are presented, some are closed. So I want to see an invoice status of open draft, presented, signed, voided, or closed. You can choose anything that you would like to see. Okay, so you can go by job type, by payment statuses, of unpaid. So anytime you have this box in our system that there's not a little caret on it, it is a multi-select. So I can go in, and right now I have this one that is unpaid. But if you have multiple, you can go in and click a box and it will send these in bulk out to them with their current method of communication. So if it's text or email that's on the customer, you can go ahead and send this out to them. If it is one customer, you can send a statement. So if you search by one customer, you can do a statement that will give them a statement as of this date. It will give them a beginning balance of that date and an ending balance, so anything before. And you can hit send statement. And this is going to Jack Dawson. Once you hit send statement, this statement is going to live under the Statements tab under Jack Dawson. Customer statement history would be right down here, and you can see the date that you sent it, and you can see a PDF resend it as well, and also see the send history here. Everywhere in our system is still in the process of going. Everywhere in the system, wherever you see this half arrow, it's like a circle arrow, you can see the send history. This is a blind send. We have these throughout the system. I'm old school. I like to see something before I send it, so you can always click on the PDF and see it as well. Check for any corrections, check to make sure everything looks good, and go ahead and send it on out from here. Okay, so that is the option on the receivable. So you can bulk send for a payment. So if you don't want to send a statement and you just want to send the invoice, you can hit send invoice, and this will send them out to them so that they can click on the link and make a payment. Once you send this out, it'll have a last notification date today at 1:06, and you can see the sent history here. So what I like to do is this 3-strike rule in a lot of our different reports where you have the option to bulk send, like the maintenance plan appointment scheduling report and the accounts receivable report. I like to try to email it to them twice or text it, depending on whatever their communication preference is. Send it to them twice. And if I haven't heard from them by the week or so after the last time I send it, I can click in here, see how many times I sent it. If I send it twice, it'll show up in there both times. Then I can pick up the phone and call. Nobody likes to do collections. It's a lot easier to send these out and try to get them to pay and respond to you than to reach out and track them down and get them to answer the phone. So you can always use this feature on the accounts receivable and with any of our reports that are created in here, you can click on the Bill to Customer and toggle. It will bring them up alphabetically back and forth, and it does that with any header on any of our system. And as of the first of the year, I can see my invoice total is $25,660.70. My payments and credits are $249.94, so my people aren't paying very well here in my test account. And my remaining balance is $25,410.76. So you can see that if I wanted to select all of these and send them out, I could as well. But since they are for different customers, you're not going to be able to do a statement. Statements can only be sent for invoices with the same customer. So you'd have to search that single customer to send the statement. Okay. If you decide that you don't want to send any of these that are clicked, let's say we know that Jack Dawson knows that this is a install hasn't been done yet, you can unselect any odds and ends through here if you know that you don't want to send it to somebody. Okay. To get out of it, you just unselect all of them. And that is the receivables report. So this receivables report just basically tells you whether it's paid or unpaid. The other receivables report that we have is the accounts receivable aging. This may make me update it here because I've had it open for about 10 or 15 minutes, and sometimes this reporting type, excuse me, will sit here for a little while and then I want you to update it. So I'm going to try to get through before it asks me to update it. So this is your accounts receivable aging. It breaks it up in pretty much the same similar buckets that QuickBooks does, 30, 60, 90, and 90 plus days. And you can see by the arrow where most of my stuff is. Okay, most of it's in the 1 to 30 day bucket, and the rest of it is in the 91. So you can go through here and just go by customer and see what they owe you. Okay, and their overall total, and you can see them in the buckets here as well, pretty much like you can in QuickBooks. You can go through and check on any where it looks like there may be a credit or something that's not applied. Like this one, there's 111.25. So this is Mr. Foghorn Leghorn. And we can go take a look at his customer and go to the payments tab and see that he has one payment that's not fully applied to an invoice. That's what this gold bar means. So when you click on this gold bar, you'll see that he had a cash payment and $50 of it is still unapplied. So you may have this on here where they made an overpayment and they said just hang on to it till the next time. If you create another invoice, or they may say apply it to a different invoice because he does have an outstanding balance, you can click on the pencil, reassign the payment, and go point this payment towards any place else that you can apply the payment. Okay. Since this is a recorded payment, when you click on this, it's going to default to the full amount due. And if you don't change the amount down here to make it match the 61.69, it's going to change the total payment of the check, the recorded payment, because I did this as a cash or check when you do that. So you need to make it match what you took to the bank. This feature is allowable at this time because it's a recorded payment, and you can do this. You can do more things with a recorded payment than you can with a processed payment. With a processed payment, you can only reassign it, delete it. Well, you can't even delete a processed payment. You can refund it. Those are the only things that you can do to it. You can reassign it and refund it. If you know it's on the wrong customer on the payments list, you can reassign it to the correct customer, but it is a payment that was processed and deposited in your bank. A recorded payment is not deposited in your bank through our system. It's just a record of that you took a payment outside of our system, that you're either taking cash or check to the bank, or if you're processing somewhere else, you can put in there the other processors, because those other processors were Green Sky, MasterCard, different visas. So all these different other items are in here so that you can record it. So just make sure that you pay attention to the difference between edit a recorded payment and edit a processed payment, because you cannot do the same things with both types of payments. And if you forget to do this, you're going to have a check that you originally took to the bank for $61.69, and you're going to show $74.79 in WEX FSM, and your books are going to be off. So let me uncheck this and go back to my accounts receivable. So what you're basically going to be doing, and if you haven't done this in a while, you're going to be running this report here. And let me pull up QuickBooks real quick. And you're going to go to the reports, and I use memorize reports, customers, accounts, AR aging summary. This is the one that I pulled up. You may have saved reports in QuickBooks. You may have other reports in QuickBooks that you like to use or the detail. I just pulled the summary, and you're going to try to get these 30, 60, 90, and total amounts to match what is showing on your accounts receivable in WEX FSM. Now, mine is a test account, and QuickBooks closed my QuickBooks account at one point, so these are all over the place. They don't match at all what's in my WEX FSM system. So you won't have that problem because every so often Intuit decides that they're going to close out all the test accounts and you're going to have to start over. So my WEX FSM account was open for the whole time, but I had to create a new QuickBooks. So yours should be a lot cleaner, but depending on how you want to do this, you can print out the accounts receivable in WEX FSM. You can print out the AR aging summary in QuickBooks. And if you're manual, you can check them off to make sure that they're all the same, and or have one up on one screen, have one up on the other screen, and you work your way through them to make sure that they match. And if you haven't done it in a while, it's going to take you a little bit to get this cleaned up and make sure that everything is good. Everybody makes mistakes, so sometimes you have to do a little bit of cleanup. And once it's cleaned up, though, when you go in, you'll be able to spot check these and you'll be able to see right away, oh, I know that $50 for Mr. Foghorn is outstanding. Okay. You'll be able to see it there and see that it is unapplied, right? You'll be able to go in and say, okay, Claude Miller, he has $500. What the heck is going on with him? So you can go to Claude, you can go to payments, you can see that he has a down payment that is partially applied. Once again, you can go in and you can reassign the payment. He doesn't have any, so it's going to sit here, and you can either choose to refund it to him. If you refund it and it's a recorded payment, you can hit refund payment and walk through the steps, but the payment will have to be refunded out of QuickBooks because there is no way to refund a payment in WEX FSM. It's not an accounting system. So you would refund it, cut them a check, or give them cash, depending on how you do business, out of QuickBooks. And then that would be good to go. Okay. So one of the ways to kind of find things is to search those for those unapplied payments. And another way to look at things is to go to the payment list. And so you would go to the Jobs tab, you would go to the payment list, and you can go back in time. I went back to September here. And in our system, if a payment is not assigned to an invoice, it doesn't have a check mark here. So you have the option when you take a payment to apply it to an invoice. And if a portion or all of that invoice is dedicated to a maintenance plan purchase, there's an additional box that you can check to point it to the maintenance plan. If you forget, the check mark won't be here. Okay, so this one does not have an invoice. So I can look at it and I can say, okay, it's a $500 payment. These little arrows drop down will show you that, nope, it's not even partially applied. So I'm going to go to that customer. Red box with an arrow opens it up into a new tab. Okay. Go to the payments list, and there's an unapplied payment that is fully unapplied. You can go ahead and unapply it. Again, it's always recorded in the system because in my test account, I don't have credit cards enabled. And you can either delete it, refund it, or reassign it. Okay, so just working through any of those items that you see on the accounts receivable aging or the payment list will help you keep your system clean. Now, one of the things, again, in our system, click on the header. It will bring up any that have a check mark and any that don't. So in bulk, you can kind of work your way through these without having to scroll through multiple pages, because as you're doing business, you're going to have more and more pages. And if you're doing your first cleanup, there may be quite a few in here. You may have to do a little detective work to get this done. But once you get it clean, if you do it once a week or even once a month, when you balance your checkbook and make sure that your checkbook is balanced, your AR aging in WEX FSM match, and your AR aging summary in QuickBooks match, then you'll know that your system's clean and you're good to go. Okay, let's see. Now, I like to make sure that everybody, whenever a tech goes out to a job, that they create an invoice for every appointment. And you may not do this in your system. As a business, you would decide whether you want to do this or not. Some people think it's too much for the tech. Other people like it because you can create an invoice even if you're not charging the customer. The customer can see what was done and sign off that the work was done. And if you are one of those companies who likes to have it done, you can come to the job summary report, and that is under the job section, and it's over here under job summary. The job summary report has all of the column headers again, and kind of flies under the radar that there's little numbers here. So you can see if there's any signed proposals that don't have an invoice. And you can also see if there are any jobs without invoices. And if there are jobs without invoices, one of two things could be going on. You could still be doing the work on this and they haven't been billed yet, and or someone forgot to create an invoice and you haven't been paid yet. So that's money left on the table. If it's that they can't charge anything for them, there should still be a 1 here. Okay, you can see that this one has multiple because it may have been different phases of a job. So you can have more than one invoice, but you need to make sure that you at least have one if everybody's supposed to be making one on the job. And you can also see this on the job summary by appointment. And let me refresh this one. It's probably because I don't have any appointments. And this appointment does run by appointments in that date range. So if you go to the first of the month and you started and you don't have any appointments yet, nothing's going to show on it. It's going to take a little bit to load here as we're on a Zoom. And let me go back in time. See if we can pull in any other ones. Yep, it's in the test system right now, so it is not working for me at the moment, but you'll be able to see this in your system and go through, and it will have the appointment tech on there, and it will have the number of proposals and appointments as well. So basically, what you are trying to do is to keep your system clean, to go through, make sure that your invoices are being created, make sure that the payments are being assigned to the invoices, and make sure that your accounts receivable in WEX FSM and the one in QuickBooks, let me pull that up, all match. And if you can do that, then that's going to make sure that when you go to balance your checkbook at the end of the month, when you close out your quarters, that all of your reporting is correct between the two systems. Okay, so that's basically how everything functions. So I was just checking to see if anyone had any questions about the accounts receivable, about sending them in bulk, or any other questions about keeping track of your books between the two systems. See what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow we're working on resolving sync errors, QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop, and how to merge customers. So that will tie in with this a little bit as well. But right now we're just working on the accounts receivable. With any of these reports that are Tableau, make sure that you go to Cross-Tab and choose Excel to download. And then that way, if you need to, you can do it that way. The other reports are download by Excel and PDF. Okay. To be able to sign up for tomorrow's, you would go to Solution Studio, go to Advanced Working Sessions and Learning, and go ahead down to the calendar, click on that, and start getting signed up for the next courses. Okay. If no one has any other questions, I'm going to let everybody get back to work and have a great rest of your day.